The organizers asked the presenters a question whether they would like to speak in Finnish or in English, and I decided to give this presentation in English for two reasons. Number one, I picked up some international audience, so I think it'd be polite for them to also pick up some of the messages that we want to deliver. We're looking for partners also from abroad. And the second simple reason was that I wanted to challenge myself. Every presentation is an opportunity to learn, so I wanted to put myself and challenge myself in becoming a better presenter in English. So thank you in advance for giving me this opportunity. I'm here to share with you the vision of our region and our city. And by doing that, I would like to answer this question: how a small town in Finland is revolutionizing the way we learn in the 21st century, or reimagining the way we learn in the 21st century. And I'd like to do it in three parts. First part, I want to look at the global context. What is the global debate around learning and higher education? And in the second part, I'd like to bring that global context into a local context in our city, in our region, how we view this big transformation in the global scene. And finally, I'd like to conclude with some takeaways and build a bridge maybe to the theme of today in the smart city and the built environment. So let's begin. The global context, part one. I'm here to make a bold claim that the university system is like a land phone in a world using smartphones. It's a bold statement, but there's a big debate globally around: are the universities, are the traditional institutes quick enough, fast enough, nimble enough to really equip us with the skills we need in the fast-moving 21st century? There's some claims about the university experience being out of date. These are some direct quotes from Forbes magazine a few years back. Impractical learning, ridiculous tuition costs, out-of-touch faculty, diminishing probabilities of employment for the graduating students. And here's a great quote: innovators can be of any age, come from any background, with any level of education. What they share in common is not a prestigious degree, but a passion for innovation, great idea, and the strength of purpose to make people listen. Proving the point that the diploma necessarily doesn't give you the driver's license for making great things happen. So disruptions are emerging. We see this in many places around the world. In the US, two great quotes. One from MIT, Bill Olet: we're not losing students to Stanford or Harvard. Our competition is places like Thiel or Y Combinator. These very interesting programs that they teach the entrepreneurial skills. Another quote: a former MIT dean takes leave to start a new university without lectures or classrooms. So an interesting signal that we picked up in our development agenda. Two examples, probably some of you recognize these players. Singularity University just came out to Copenhagen, Denmark. Very, in my mind, inspiring mission statement. Our mission is to educate, inspire, and empower leaders to apply exponential technologies to address humanity's grand challenges. It's a 10-week program, highly selective. They pick up the best brains in the world. I think few Finns have participated in the Singularity. But an example of a new way of organizing learning. Another one, Draper University, a 7-week on-site plus online learning program. We offer world-class entrepreneurship programs, beautiful co-working spaces, and a thriving ecosystem of people who want to change the world. One of my favorite slides is the curriculum from Draper, and this is what they teach. They teach the vision of the future, evangelism, media training, branding and storytelling, special powers. Who would not like to take a class in special powers? I know I would. Coding, negotiations, lie detection, perfecting your pitch, speed and strength, prototyping, founders versus CEOs, etc., etc. But I think key creativity, the sort of startup skill set that we so often nowadays also admire. So all this happening in the global scene. And in 2015, we had an interesting coffee table conversation with some friends. This is a coffee shop in Kotka. Kotka is about 1 hour east from Helsinki, about 55,000 people. The Kotka-Hamina region, about 90,000 people altogether. And we had a very interesting conversation with some friends about this, what's happening in the world. Some of my friends, that's Terhi Lindholm, she's the city development director for the city of Kotka, looking to the future. Bruce Orek, some of you might recognize. Shaivia Karnam from Cambridge University, who came over to a startup event we hosted, and Jacqueline Musidwa, a World Economic Forum global leader. Some minds that we had gathered together around this, what's going on in the world, and we came to 3 conclusions. Number 1, so there is this debate about the education system being broke. Number 2, Kotka does not have a university. Great. Let's use that to our advantage. We have a blank slate. We could create something totally new. You look at any study in the world, you pick up the most competitive regions or clusters, and they underline the presence of a university. Well, we flipped it around. We said, okay, we don't have one. We have a University of Applied Sciences, but could we maybe create something totally new and fun? What if we reimagined? And started this very interesting journey that's been taking on for about a year and a half, 2 years now. We've done some prototyping, some testing around this vision, but we also have a track record. We've done some big transformation projects in the past. Some of you might recognize this. It's actually an old paper mill in Hamina. An old paper mill that one of the unicorns of the world, Google, that started in a garage, has transformed into a modern data center. 1 billion is the investment, I think, nowadays in our backyard. And it's been a really, really inspiring project for us to see that, okay, you could actually do something pretty amazing, pretty big things also in the Kotka-Hamina region. Transforming something that you have into the digital age, or maybe using something that you don't have into your advantage and creating something totally new. So what I did, I started writing, blogging about this big vision, and all of a sudden, people started sort of picking up the message. Okay, interesting. And we've been creating a network of partners globally, and sort of labeled this idea, this sort of quote-unquote 21 Uni is the working title. And we've done some experiments. And one of the experiments we did this May, it was a 2-week intensive program with companies and students and some interesting partners. We labeled this experiment the Disruption Camp, And I think there's a minute and a half, 90-second video about the experiment, trying to sort of prove that our vision actually might have some flesh and bones. So let's have a look. Whoop, nope. Let's not have a look. They promised me that the video would work, but let's try again. I'm very well in schedule, so I don't mind if we sort of trying to get the video to work. We're halfway there, so. That's the uncomfortable sort of pause for the presenter now. Really putting me on the spot. It's the beautiful city of Kotka, by the way. Here we go.
Who said that a city that does not have a university couldn't create a learning environment of the future?
I think we have to go explore that life, new dialogues, new discussions, new settings, new contexts, whatever.
Finland is world known for its educational system. Now we want to take the next step in creating some buzz around learning in the city of Kotka here in Finland by creating a very exciting environment to teach the skills that are required in the 21st century labor markets.
For me, the disruption part is about the fun of the journey.
Entrepreneurial skills, design thinking, communication skills, team building. These are the skills that we teach at the Disruption Camp. During the 2 weeks of the Disruption Camp, the students have been put through a very rigorous program to work on company problems together with world-class facilitators and peers from all over the world. We have created a movement of change makers that really want to make a difference. And we want you to join our vision of creating the learning environment of the 21st century.
Great. So in May, we had a 2-week experiment where we basically brought in about 10 local companies with problems. We brought in about 40 students from all over the world and had a hell of a team with partners from Google, Cranfield University in the UK, one of the leading institutes in industry collaboration, MIT, Sloan Management School, wanted to come. They wanted to come because we had a big idea. They said, okay, we want to be part of experiments like this. And in these 2 weeks, out of the 40 students, 7 of them are now in our incubator program with 3 new startup companies, which is very, very sort of fulfilling that actually there's 3 new companies and 7 new jobs, if you will, in 2 weeks intensive program that resulted in actual concrete results. So one example of testing out your idea, prototyping, experimenting, a big vision in a feasible way. Let me try to bring it to the context of the seminar, the sort of smart city built environment, to start wrapping up the presentation. And so we have in Kotka, this area here is called the Old Port in Kantasatama. Some of you been in the city of Kotka, that's the Maritime Museum Vellamo. And we have an ongoing pipeline of about 136 million euros of investments now in this area. In downtown Kotka, there's a commercial piece, there's an outlet mall piece, which is a commercial project. There is a new campus building of XAMK, which is the University of Applied Sciences for Southeast Finland. They're bringing a new greenfield campus into this sort of beautiful mixed use urban space. We just recently, a few weeks ago, the city made a decision about a multi-purpose arena, another 20+ million euros, and a hotel. So now we're thinking, okay, we've got this big idea about reorganizing learning with companies and students, but what if we sort of visioned the whole city as a curriculum, or the whole city as the sort of learning environment, where you don't have any classrooms, and these new investments coming in, we could build also a platform. I had an interesting discussion earlier today with one of the companies around here about, okay, so what would be the digital element in all of this, in this particular built environment as well. So I know we weren't supposed to pitch or sell our things, but this is a very interesting project, and we are looking for partners that share some of these thinkings with us. The planning process is now beginning for these projects, the new campus, the arena, the outlet piece is already moving ahead, but we absolutely are looking for partners that want to join us in creating something new, something spectacular around this sort of learning ecosystem in a built environment. All right, I think it's time to wrap up, and I picked up sort of three thoughts that I'd like to leave the presentation with, or leave the audience with, 3 takeaways in this smart city context. And the first one is focus solving a problem. In our case, it was really the pain of okay, we don't have a university, what the hell are we going to do? Let's try something new. So start identifying a problem you're trying to solve. I think the second takeaway I'd like to leave you with is create and tell a story to create the momentum. With my colleague, we visited a smart city conference in Tel Aviv a year and a half ago, and there's, I think, mayor of Amsterdam, he was saying, there isn't a single mayor or a single city that's not claiming they're the next smart city. So how do you differentiate? How do you stand out in this, everyone trying to be the next smart city, but rather the question I ask myself, how can you be the first? Not the next, but how can you be the first in creating something totally new? And for that, you need a compelling, appealing story to create momentum. And then final sort of takeaway is start the experiment today. Even though no matter how big of a vision you have, I think the skill, what really differentiates the good from the great is you're able to combine a big vision with actual concrete experiments and projects. So really I'd like to encourage everyone to start experimenting today, like we did with the 2-week disruption camp. And finally, like I said, we have this all-port investment platform on the way. Join our stand. The City Urban Development Director, Markku Hannonen, is present here today. I'd love to talk with you guys, like myself and my colleagues Petri and Esa. So please join us, have a talk, and let's create something spectacular. Thank you.